ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to this class on Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gita. We are studying second chapter, verse 61 onwards. In the previous verse, Bhagavan explained that intelligent person also tries to control his senses. Still, the senses are so strong that they steal away his mind. Forcefully, they drag the mind towards the sense objects. In this verse, he is explaining that what is the solution for that problem. One thing is to diagnose the cause of the disease for a patient. That is one step. And the second is to prescribe the solution or the remedy for his suffering. So Bhagavan already explained, he did the diagnosis that senses are very strong and they capture our mind. Here he is prescribing the remedy, what a sadhak should do.
युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता। कहते हैं जो योगी मेरे
Translation:
साथ भक्ति में
the yogi who is united with me in devotion and who is intent exclusively upon me should sit, having regulated all his senses. One whose senses are under control is certainly of steady wisdom.
तो तानी का मतलब यहाँ
So Tani means
पिछले
those senses. In the previous verse, he explained about the senses.
कीजिए
So control those senses,
सारी और एक
regulate the senses,
नहीं लेकिन सभी सर्व
not just one or two, but all the senses should be regulated.
मेरे परायण होकर बैठी
And sit with your intent exclusively upon me.
तब रजे तक
Because Arjun had a question that how does the sthita pragyasya
तो कैसे बैठता है
sit?
तो यहाँ उसका भी उत्तर भगवान दे
So here Bhagavan is answering, how does he sit?
आसीत
That's why the word asita is used here.
मतलब हमारी मानसिक स्थिति
Sitting means, sitting refers to our mental state,
क्योंकि सब मन से ही चलता है
because everything operates through mind only.
कि उसको
That's why he is telling here
पर होना चाहिए
that he should become matpara.
मत पर मतलब मेरे
Matpara means my parayan, or having taken shelter of me, intent exclusively upon me.
साधारण जीवन में
In our ordinary life,
परायण होते हैं
we are aham parayan.
हमारी शरणागति हमारे अपने अहंकार की
Our
रहती है
shelter is in our own ahankar.
चीज नहीं है लेकिन कहने का मतलब है कि हम
So actually the point
अहंकार
is
से चलते हैं
that we also operate through our ahankar. Whatever actions we perform,
अहंकार को शांति सुख मिलता है वो कार्य करते
whatever gives peace and happiness to our ahankar, we perform that. And whatever is not favorable to our ahankar, we want to dispose it of.
तो जब तक हमारा ये अहम परायणता या अहंता
So as long as we have this aham parayanata, or taking shelter of our own ahankar, we will be unable to regulate our senses, control our mind.
भगवान गीता में कर्मयोग
In Gita,
ज्ञान योग अष्टांग
Bhagavan has explained karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga,
लेकिन
but
उनका मुख्य जो उद्देश्य है वो
his
भक्ति
primary
से
intent is to explain bhakti.
इसलिए यहाँ वास्तव
That is why
कर्मयोग का प्रचार
here,
चल रहा है
although the topic, the subject matter which is going on here is that of karma yoga,
योग मतलब कर्मयोग की बात
here yoga refers to karma yoga.
लेकिन इस कर्म योग में भी भक्ति को
But even in karma yoga, Bhagavan is bringing bhakti.
तो इसका
So why is it like that?
है कि चाहे आप
The primary reason is that whether you are a karma yogi or a jnana yogi or ashtanga yogi,
बोलेंगे वो
even in ashtanga yoga's discussion, he will speak of bhakti.
अपने अपने बल से हम अपने मन
So
और इंद्रियों
the point that he wants to emphasize is that through our own capability, we will not be able to surpass the power of our senses.
समस्या है यानी कि आप को किसी चीज का बैक्टीरिया शरीर में हो गया डायरिया हो गया
If you are suffering from diarrhea, there is some bacteria, the hands through which you are eating food, you are consuming medicine, but if that also has bacteria, how will it cure you?
लेकिन बैक्टीरिया भी हो
The medicine may have power to kill the bacteria, but if it is itself infected with that same bacteria, how will it cure? So our mind, senses, these are all material. They are made up of three gunas.
पार हमको कैसे होना चाहिए
So how do we surpass these three gunas? Bhagavan had told Nestragunya Bhavarjuna.
कैसे संभव है
So how is that possible?
पुण्य तो केवल भगवान ही है
Nistraigunya, actually only Bhagavan is Nistraigunya.
कोई भी ऐसी चीज
Because in this world, there is nothing which is not made up of three gunas.
ये 18वें अध्याय में भगवान कहेंगे
In the 18th chapter, Bhagavan will explain that whatever you see around you,
बना हुआ है
everything is made up of three gunas.
कि हम तीन गुण से पार नहीं जा सकते हैं
So by using them, we cannot go beyond the three gunas. That is why
व्यक्ति की सहायता चाहिए जो
we need help of a person who is beyond these three gunas, and that is Bhagavan only. He is Adokshaja.
कहते हैं कि मत
That's why here he says, Mat para ashrit
तो मेरे
asit.
युक्त होइए
become united with me.
जोड़ना,
He is speaking yukta. Yukta means to join.
उसको भी युक्त बोलते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात इस श्लोक
So
में
this is a very important point that he is making in this verse. Although the word is one only, that is matpara.
सारे श्लोक हैं, 72 श्लोक
There are
हैं,
so many verses in this chapter. There are 72 verses, but he has just spoken one word here, matpara,
क्योंकि इसके बगैर
which
हम
is very important
इंद्रियों को
because without this we will not be able to regulate our
आपको
senses.
डुबा देंगी, पतन की तरफ ले जाएंगी।
Sometime or the other they will definitely lead
और
to
उसका
your
कारण
fall
क्या है
down.
कि हमारे पूर्व
And what is the
संस्कार,
reason?
हमारी
The reason is our previous samskaras, our habits.
आदत हमको उस तरफ खींचेंगी।
So our
हमारे
habits
इंद्रियों के भी
drag
संस्कार पड़े
us
हुए हैं,
towards
के भी संस्कार,
those activities which lead to
इंद्रियों
our
के
fall
भी
down.
संस्कार के।
We have such experiences
बहुत
earlier.
क्या कहना चाहिए कि बहुत बलपूर्वक चिपके हुए हैं।
So we are sticking very tightly to those previous experiences and samskaras. Getting rid of them is extremely difficult, and simply on our own capability we cannot get rid of them. That's why Bhagavan speaks here matpara. Those old habits they keep attracting us again and again. If you have taste for some particular
तो
type
आपका मन, आपकी
uh,
इंद्रियां स्वतः
for
ही उस तरफ चले
particular
जाएंगी।
type of food or seeing something, then your mind and senses just automatically start going towards that. If you see some, if you have habit of eating something and if you get its smell, then immediately you get the desire to eat that, and you won't even realize that when you started even eating that.
बीड़ी सिगरेट पीने की आदत होती है,
People who are addicted to smoking,
अचानक ही उनका हाथ चला जाता
when
है
their hand automatically goes to the pocket and it takes out the cigarette, they light that and
अचेतन तरीके से
start
करते रहते हैं
smoking.
ये क्रिया।
It just happens
जैसे
at
अगर हमको
a
गाड़ी
very
चलाने की आदत
subconscious
लग
level.
गई है तो फिर हम उस पर
It's as if like happening automatically, like when we are habituated to driving,
तो ऐसे ही
we just do it like automatically. We are not so conscious of it like we are when we
हमारी आदत
learned
इस प्रकार की
driving.
बनी हुई है कि वो
So
विषय की
we
तरफ
have got such habits
जाते हैं।
that our mind and
जब ऐसे
senses they
हो
just
जाए
get attracted to the sense objects. So
उसको
how to stop the mind from going there?
कहते हैं
So
कि
Bhagavan is explaining here
यानी कि
that
मेरी सहायता
you
लीजिए।
should become matpara,
जैसे
means you should
अगर
take
आप
mind.
किसी को डर है चोर से, डाकू से,
Like if somebody is afraid
कोई
of thief or
कमजोर
dacoit,
व्यक्ति है,
and if
तो
you
आप
are
किसी
a weak person,
बलशाली व्यक्ति की
then
सहायता ले
you have
लेंगे
to take help of a strong
तो
person.
फिर आपको उनसे सुरक्षा मिलेगी।
And if you do that, then you will be
क्योंकि
protected.
भगवान से ज्यादा बलशाली तो और कोई
So
है
who
नहीं।
can be more powerful than Bhagavan
उनकी
himself?
मदद ही लेते हैं,
So
उनकी
if we
सहायता
take
लेते
his
हैं,
shelter, if we take his help,
हम
then
इन इंद्रियों को अपने वश में
we will be
रख
able
सकते हैं।
to regulate these senses.
और नहीं तो फिर हम अपना अहंकार
Otherwise,
से चलते रहते
we
हैं।
will operate on our
यही
ahankara.
अहंकार हो जाता है कि मैं
That
जितेंद्र
is
हूँ,
also one ahankara that now I have won over my senses. I have
होता आपका अहंकार
my senses are under my control.
ऐसे
But this
अहंकार
ahankara can break anytime. It has happened
तो
earlier to
इसका
many people.
निवारण करने के लिए एक तो
So in order to regulate this,
इंद्रियां हैं, जैसा
one
कि
is
मैंने
that
कहा
we
था
have the the senses, like I had told earlier.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिने, इंद्रियां भी उनका अपना आहार है।
Senses
तो
also have their own food. So
यानी
we
कि
need
ऐसा
proper
आहार नहीं
food.
देना जिससे
Do not
हानि
feed
पहुंचे,
anything to the senses
और ऐसा भी नहीं करना कि उनको आहार ही ना दें तो वो कमजोर हो जाएं।
which leads them to wrong
मैंने
activity,
इससे पहले भी कहा
and
था कि इंद्रियां जो
don't
है
feed
वो
too little
शरीर
so that they become very weak. Like I had explained earlier also, senses are like horses.
खींचती है उसको नियंत्रण में, जो खींचती
So
है।
the mind is like the reins which is
तो
holding it.
ऐसा खाना देना है
So we have to
कि
feed
वो
the
घोड़े
horses in such a
हमारे
way
नियंत्रण में
that
रहे।
the horses remain under our control.
तो उसके लिए
For that,
आपको देखना है कि ये जो विषय
you
का
have
सेवन
to
कर रहा हूँ, चाहे वो
check
भोजन है,
that
चाहे वो
whatever
खाना है,
sense
चाहे गाने
object
हैं, या चाहे
I
सुगंध
am
है,
consuming,
तो वो
whether it
मुझे
is smelling,
मानसिक शांति
eating,
प्रदान करते
seeing,
हैं।
is it
ये
favorable to my goal or
बहुत
no?
महत्वपूर्ण चीज है,
This is very
क्योंकि
important
एक
to
तो हमारे पुराने
understand,
संस्कार पड़े हुए हैं,
because one is that we have our older
मैं
samskaras.
उन संस्कारों
We have to liberate ourselves from those samskaras. And second job is we have to get good samskaras also. So that is possible in this way only, that where we are engaging our senses and from what are we restraining our senses. So for that, Bhagavan is giving this formula, this mantra of Yukta Asita Matparaha. So we have to unite ourselves with Bhagavan. We have to connect ourselves with Him. Whatever activities we are performing, we should check, we should make sure that this is for Bhagavan. You are doing some karma, you are going to office, so you should have the mindset that I am doing this for Bhagavan. I belong to Bhagavan. Because whatever energies we have, whether it is mental, verbal, or physical, they are all given to us by Bhagavan only. So if they have been given to us by Bhagavan, then they should be used in his service only. Otherwise, we will be called a thief. Thief is one who uses another person's object for himself. So whatever Bhagavan has given, if a person uses them for himself, then he is a thief. So whatever energy we have, they have all been given by Bhagavan. Our body is made up of the elements which are given by Bhagavan only. Bhagavan says that these are 8 elements. He himself is telling that, and he is telling this is my Prakriti. Whether it is earth or fire or air, water, even Ahankara, these are all given by him only. So if it is given by him, then we should engage all this in his service only. But if we do not engage them in his seva, then it will result to karma. It will become karma, and then it will give result, and we will have to suffer for that. So later he will tell this. One who does not have this bhava of ahankara, that I am the doer of this action, then he does not get implicated in the karma. He remains liberated. So this is something very important that Bhagavan has spoken. Although he has used one word only, that is matpara, but it has very deep meaning, and in our life it can bring a great revolution if we actually understand this. It is not difficult to understand this, because this is the reality, this is the truth, that whatever we see around, everything is given to us by Bhagavan. When we were born naked, we did not get anything with ourselves, we did not bring anything, and we will not be able to take anything along with ourselves after we die. So this is the truth that everyone has to accept. And you also cannot say that if this does not belong to me, at least it belongs to my parents. No, they were also born like us only. When they were born, they also did not bring anything with them. So if like this, if you keep tracing back, if you tell that this house belongs to my parents, so before them it belonged to whom? Who created this earth? So actually nobody can tell that all this belongs to that person, except only Bhagavan can claim the proprietorship. Nobody can claim that. If you say that no, just like we cannot say, Bhagavan also cannot say. No, Bhagavan is actually telling that this is mine and I have created all this. Now, whether you believe in the statement of Bhagavan or no, if you do not believe in his statement, then it will be your loss, because then you will have to keep struggling with your senses. You have to keep fighting with them. And then you will not be able to free yourself from this. But if you understand this statement of Bhagavan, and after understanding, if you follow that, if you apply that principle in your life, then you will be able to live happily. That's why, without understanding this principle, nobody can become happy. In the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, there is a mantra like this, where it is said that if one is trying to get happiness without understanding Bhagavan, it is just like rolling up the sky, rolling up the sky with leather. It basically refers to impossible action. So he has given an example that if you can do this, then you will be happy. But so the implication is that nobody can do that. That's why nobody can be happy. That's why in Gita, Bhagavan says that only by understanding me, by knowing me, a person can achieve peace. Because he himself is the personification of Ananda, of happiness. Just like you get water from the source of water only. If you want gold, you will get it from a gold mine only. If you want wood, you will get it from tree only. Similarly, if you want Ananda, then you will get it from the source of Ananda only.
आनंद से ही ये सब पैदा हुआ है, आनंद ही उनका नाम है.
This is all come from Ananda only, and Bhagavan's name is also Ananda. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Raso Vaisa, that he is Rasa, like it was told earlier, Rasa Varjam. Actually, in our life, we are looking after, we are searching for Rasa only. Nobody wants to live a life devoid of Rasa. And Bhagavan is Rasa personified. He is the Rashik Shekhar. He is the supreme embodiment of Rasa. So by attaining him only, we can actually become happy and get Rasa. So this is all what is Bhagavan is indicating in this verse. So like Ambarish, who was a great king here in Mathura, in Bhagavatam, his story is narrated that being a king also, how he was engaging all his senses in the seva of Bhagavan.
तो उसी से इंद्रियों का संयम संभव है.
So that is the only way to regulate the senses. Now somebody may ask that when we are living in householder life, how can we follow this principle? So this should be your bhava. This should be your inner understanding that if I am going to office, I am going for Bhagavan only. Don't think that this is my home. Try to one's home and I am its caretaker. Think like this for your family also. So, to making Bhagavan the center of our life. So, as of currently, our ahankar is our center, is the center of our life. So, all the people whom we love in our family, we love them only as long as our ahankara is being pacified. If they attack our ahankara, then we will fight with those same people whom we love very much. As long as they keep massaging our ahankara, keep giving happiness to our ahankara, till then only we consider
अहंकार को चोट करने लगते हैं,
consider them as,
तो तभी वो आपके शत्रु बन जाएंगे.
If they attack our ahankara, then we start considering them as our enemy. But if we live a God-centered life, then we won't have all those problems.
तो जिसकी इंद्रियां वश में है,
so that's why here Bhagavan is telling only one whose senses are under control, that person is of steady wisdom. His intelligence is steady. He is not speaking of that type of control which we had spoken of earlier. Here what he is telling is the in the Indriyas senses don't have the rasa also. Because even if we are regulating our senses, but still they have the taste for sense objects, that regulation is temporary. Anytime the senses may slip away. but only when we make our relation with Bhagavan, only then the rasa, the indriyas will lose their taste for sense objects, because now they will start deriving taste from Bhagavan, his seva.
डगमगाने वाले विषय ही
Then
ऐसे
only we will, our intelligence will become steady,
मौलिक
because these
जैसे
sense objects are only deviating our senses.
तो एक एक तो ये हमारी स्थिति है कि हमारी इंद्रियां वश में नहीं है
So this is one situation, that our senses are not under our control,
बताया भगवान ने इंद्रियाणी
like Bhagavan explained in the previous verse,
कि इंद्रियां जो है हमको हमारे मन का हरण कर लेती हैं
that the
और
senses
एक
steal away
स्थिति
our
है कि
mind.
जब इंद्रियां अपने
And
वश
other
में नहीं
situation
होती
is
जैसे
a
इंद्रियां
person whose senses are under his control.
लेकिन इसके बीच वाली स्थिति जो है
But there is a middle position also. We have to understand
नहीं
that
है कि हम
also,
वहां से एकदम
because
से
it is not that from
100
zero
चले जाते हैं
directly we jump to
अपने
1,
आप
or
कार्य करता है
from 0 directly we jump to
जब गाड़ी
100.
है तो उसकी
Like when
स्पीड
you are driving a car,
देखने पर है
when you are not driving it, then its speed is
एक्सीटर में
0.
आपके
And if you start racing it,
चलाते हैं उसकी
if
स्पीड
you
बढ़ती है
push
लेकिन
the
एकदम से
accelerator,
ऊपर नहीं
then
पहुंचती
its speed increases, but directly it does not jump to 100. Slowly it achieves
तो ऐसे
the
ही
speed of
हमारी जो
100.
स्थिति रहती है कुछ
Similarly,
हमारा
we
नियंत्रण
are
नहीं
also
रहता
in the middle position where we have some control,
अपने आप को
and
नियंत्रित
often
करने
we
में
also lose
सक्षम नहीं
control.
होते हैं
So sometimes we
तो
are
ऐसे
able to
समय में
control,
ऐसे समय
sometimes
में हमें
we
क्या करना
find
चाहिए
ourselves unable to control. So what should we
इसमें
do in such a
सलाह यही
situation?
है कि आप
So in that
अपने आप
situation,
को
the solution
इंद्रियों
is
से लिप्त मत कीजिए
that we should not immerse ourselves
बोलते हैं कि
completely
अलग
in
होकर
the
देखिए
senses. Means we should see
ये एक
ourselves
बहुत सुंदर
separate
बात
from
कहते हैं
the senses.
इस विषय में भगवान
So regarding this,
कहते हैं ज्ञानी
Bhagavan speaks a wonderful
जात श्रद्धो
point to
भगवत
Uddhav ji.
निर्विण्ण सर्व कर्मसु वेद दुखात्मकान कामान परित्यागे भी अनीश्वर वो कहते हैं परित्यागे भी अनीश्वर कि मेरा भक्त है लेकिन वो विषय
So
को
Bhagavan is
छोड़ने
telling
में
that this
समर्थ
person,
नहीं
he
है
is my devotee, but he is
इंद्रियों
unable
की तरफ खींच
to
लेते हैं
give up attraction to sense objects.
कामान
The sense objects attract him,
कामान
they
परित्यागे
deviate him.
अनीश्वर तो ऐसे व्यक्ति को क्या करना चाहिए
So what should such a person do who is my
हमें उसकी
devotee but unable to
स्थिति
control senses?
बुद्धि से समझनी
So first of all, that person
भगवान
has to understand by his intelligence.
पहले तो ये जानना चाहिए
First of all, this
ये
sadhaka,
निश्चय होना
this
चाहिए इसमें कोई
devotee,
संशय नहीं
should
होना चाहिए
have
कि
this
जितने भी विषय हैं
complete
ये
understanding
गुणात्मक ही हैं
without any doubt
यही
that
संसार
all
पदार्थों को
subjects lead to misery.
बनाने ये बते कि इन विषयों से अंतिम परिणाम जो है वो
The
दुख
final
ही होता
result
है
of these senses is misery
इसको
only.
हमें बिल्कुल बढ़िया तरीके से समझना होगा और इसमें कोई
This is
संशय
something we have to understand very clearly,
इसको
and
घर
if
में
we have
अपने
any doubt, and if you
इसको
have any doubt, we
सीखने
should
का
get rid of that, and we
आपको
should
समय
have
मिलेगा ही मिलेगा
complete
और आप
understanding
प्रत्यक्ष
of
कर
this
भी
point,
इसको देख सकते
that
हैं
the sense
सिर्फ जान
objects
सुन
have
करके
never
नहीं
given happiness to anybody, and they cannot give happiness to anyone ever in future.
जितने भी दुख
We
उठाए
have
हैं
experienced lot of things in life,
देखिए उसका थोड़ा
and we should recollect those experiences and analyze them, that if we got misery in that
तो आप
experience,
वास्तव
what
में
was the source of that
अच्छे से
misery?
उसका विश्लेषण
So
करते
if
हैं
with a
कि
peaceful
ये
mind you
जो मुझे
analyze
दुख
that,
आया है
you will
इन
find
विषयों से ही
that
आया है
the misery has come from the sense objects only.
चाहे व्यक्ति हो
Whether
आपके
that
संतान
sense
हो
object is some
आपसे माँ बाप बड़े हो
piece of matter,
इन
or a
विषयों का
person, your
से
relative or whoever,
लड़ाई झगड़ा भी तो
the
उनसे ही
same
होता है
source of happiness also becomes
जिनसे
source of
प्रेम
misery.
घर
It
वालों
is
से
not
प्रेम
that
करने बाहर
you
निकल
love
के
some,
दूसरे
you
से
love your family members, but you go outside and fight with your
बैर दोस्ती
neighbors.
करते हैं
You fight with the same person whom you love
गाली उनको
also.
देते हैं और गाली उन्हीं से ही खाते हैं
We criticize them and we
ऐसा
also
नहीं
get
है
criticized
लोग
by
होते
them.
हैं आपके माँ बाप हों चाहे आपके बच्चे हों चाहे
They
कोई भी हो
behave egoistically with us, and we also do that.
वही दिखाते हैं
They only show their ego to
ये वहीं
us.
से आता है
So it all comes
खाने
from
पीने
there
से
only.
आता है
Food gives
खाने से दुख भी आता है
happiness, but food also gives
जिसको
misery.
डायरिया उसी
Stomach
कोई
pain,
खाएगा
diarrhea.
खाएगा नहीं क्या उसको डायरिया हो
A
जाएगा
person who is not eating, will he ever get diarrhea?
तो
That is not
भोजन से
possible.
बीमारी आती है
So disease also comes from food
जिससे
only.
शरीर का पोषण होता है वो
Nourishment also comes from food. Enjoyment also comes from food, misery also comes from food. Anything, whether it is property, wealth, whatever, they all may give problems also. And often it is seen that people who have more wealth have more problems, more suffering. That's why they are unable to sleep peacefully. Poor person can sleep peacefully. He has no trouble in sleeping. Rich people have sleep disorders, not the poor people.
अमीर पने से दुख उठाते हैं, गरीब गरीब पने से दुख उठाता है,
So poor man is suffering by his poverty and a rich person is suffering by his wealth. Rich person is sitting in five-star hotel and he is feeling miserable, and the poor person is sitting inside his hut and he is also feeling miserable. But there is no difference in the misery. The poor person is deriving happiness from his ordinary roti, and the rich person is deriving happiness from luxurious food. But actually the poor person is deriving more happiness because rich people don't feel much hunger. But poor person works physically, he works very hard, that's why he gets lot of hunger. That's why the nourishment and happiness he gets from his food is much more than what the rich person is getting. So all this suffering comes from Vishaya, from sense objects. Vishaya sense objects are those things which lead us to misery. Their result is guaranteed. Every sense object's result is guaranteed, that will be misery only. This is how the world has been designed. That's why Bhagavan refers to it as Dukkhalayam. It's an abode of misery. The body itself is also Dukkhalaya. The body is a temple of diseases. There is nobody sitting here who can say that I do not have any disease, any problem in my body. Because the body has been designed like that, and the way you see your body, similarly you see the world also. Like the world is also Dukkhalaya, place of misery. Bhagavan does not say that it is Sukhalaya, it is place of happiness. He says it is Dukkhalaya, place of misery, and it is temporary. That is why how to control these, regulate these senses, for that Bhagavan has given a formula. Bhagavan gives a formula. He tells Uddhav ji, is a very important verse, especially for the sadhakas. May not be for very good sadhakas, no, they don't need that, but especially for the beginners who are in the state of Ghanatarala, wavering here and there like a pendulum. For them, Bhagavan says, he tells such a sadhak that continue your bhajan with faith, with preeti, with determination, and those sense objects which are troubling you, you utilize them, engage with them, don't no need to leave them, but engage with them in with the understanding that the result of that engagement with the sense object will be misery only. So you should see that sense object with a vision of criticism or some kind of hatred. Be a little away from that and have the understanding that this sense object with which I am engaging, it will give me misery. So attachment will lead to anger and then all kinds of problems. So this is how we have to function, that if you are unable to give up the Vishaya, the sense object, do not get immersed in that. Understand yourself different from that. Then you will get a proper awareness. What happens is that when we engage with the sense object, then we engage in a state of sleep. Our mind is like sleeping.
तो ये इंद्रियों को वश में रखने के लिए भगवान एक बहुत सुंदर
So Bhagavan is
दे रहे हैं यहाँ पे
giving this beautiful advice
और
how to regulate our
जो अच्छे
senses.
साधक हैं
The good
जो
sadhakas,
गंभीर हैं
those who are
आत्मोपदेशों के
serious
प्रति,
about
तो
achieving their
उनको इसके
goal,
अनुसार अपनी
their
साधना
fulfill,
करनी चाहिए
then they
सावधानी
should
के साथ।
practice their
क्या
sadhana
होता है
with awareness,
हम आध्यात्मिक
following the
वातावरण में
advice of
होते हैं,
Bhagavan. Otherwise, what happens is we
बहुत
come on the
किसी
spiritual path
सोसाइटी में
and
संस्था में
then
बनते हैं,
we become member of
पर
some society
वहाँ
or some institution.
आध्यात्मिक वातावरण तो रहता ही है, लेकिन उससे
So the
थोड़ा
spiritual environment is there,
भौतिकता भी आ जाती
of
है। इस
course,
तरह का सा
but it
वातावरण
also
बनता है
gets
कि वहाँ
imbued
लोग
with lot of materialism.
कार्य करते हैं,
Like in
व्यवसाय
home,
कर लेते
people
हैं,
are working, they just think, okay, it's fine, we can do this, do that. They don't take
व्यवहारिक
it
शरीर
seriously.
के एक भौतिकता उसमें आ जाती है।
So then the spiritual environment also
जैसे
gets
ही वो
imbued
कार्य
with
करने लगते हैं, हमारी
materialism.
अपनी जो बुद्धि या विवेक रहता है
And
वो
when
भी
we
चला
are
आता है,
functioning,
तो दूसरे
our
लोग अनुसार ही
sense
रहते
of
हैं,
discrimination gets
व्यवहार
suppressed.
करने लगते
We
हैं,
get influenced by
और
others
इससे
who
क्या
are
होता है
behaving materialistically. And by imitating them, we also
वो
start behaving like
किसी
that.
प्रकार की आदत सी बन जाती है,
Then
जिससे
slowly,
हमारा
slowly it develops into a
जो
habit.
लाइफस्टाइल या दिनचर्या है
And
उसमें
then
बदल
that those
जाता है, और
habits,
हम
they form our lifestyle.
गंभीरता से अपनी साधना
And
को नहीं
then
लेते हैं,
we do not take our
और फिर वो जो
sadhana
है ना वो
very seriously.
चलता रहता है ऐसे
And
ही,
we are just passing away our life
भौतिकता
day
में
by
रहते ही
day.
हैं,
We are
लेकिन
neither core materialists,
गंभीरता से नहीं
but
लेते
we
हैं।
have not taken spirituality
लेकिन
also
कोशिश
very
करते हैं कि हम
seriously.
भक्ति मार्ग पर
On one
चलें,
side, we keep thinking that we are on the path of
बढ़ते हैं,
bhakti or yoga or jnana or
लेकिन दूसरी
whatever.
तरफ हमारा
On the
जीवन
other
बहुत
side,
साधारण
our lifestyle
से चलता है,
is more or less like a very
इसमें वो
ordinary lifestyle.
बल नहीं होता है
It does not have
कि मेरे को ये
good
उद्देश्य है और
strength of
इसको पूरा करना
determination
है, और
that
इसके अलावा
somehow or other I must
मेरा
achieve
कुछ
my
करना नहीं चाहिए, मैं
goal.
अपना समय
I do not want to
किसी
do
भी
anything else other than anything
व्यर्थ के
that is favorable to my goal.
भावना में, विषय में
I do not want to waste
नष्ट
my
नहीं
time in any nonsense talk or
तो
any
किसी ना किसी
activity
उसमें लोग,
which
जैसे आपने
deviates
कहा ना, वो
me from my
व्यवहारिक
goal.
माहौल हो जाता है, बस
Otherwise,
व्यवहारिक
just like
चलता
a
रहता है।
family environment, how people gossip around in the family.
साधु लोग हैं वो बैठ के
I
क्रिकेट
have
खेलते रहते
seen
हैं,
some sadhus here, they are just sitting
अच्छा
and
जाता है
spending
कि हम
time
सब
watching cricket
वहाँ पर
match.
आए हैं,
If you ask
आध्यात्मिक
them, you have
सीखने
become
के
a
लिए,
sadhu here. What is your relation with
इससे
cricket?
आप
What have you got to do
किसी
with that?
पार्टी में
Does that help
कैसे
you
जुड़
to
सकते
achieve
हैं,
your goal?
और अगर आपको क्रिकेट मैच देखना था तो अपने घर पे
And
देख
if
लेते,
you at all had to watch
लेकिन ऐसा
cricket match only,
ये
then you could
साधना
have
जो है
remained in your
इसको
home
इसको भी आप
and watched it.
डिग्रेड कर रहे हैं।
Why are you spoiling the
ये एकदम
respect
बाहरी
of your
दिखता है,
sadhu
मैं किसी
dress
की निंदा नहीं कर
like
रहा हूँ,
this?
जिसको जो
I'm
करना
just
है वो
giving a
करे,
general example. I'm not
पर
criticizing anybody personally. I never tell anybody
जो
to
दृष्टि से
stop
मैं सब
anything,
देखता हूँ
never force anybody.
उसके अनुसार मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि हमें किस
But
तरह
what
से
I
क्या
see,
करना
I'm
है,
just giving an analysis of what I have
इसलिए
seen, what has been my
आपको
experience with
समय
other spiritualists.
हर व्यक्ति को
So we have very limited
हमें अपने
time
उद्देश्य
in
तक
life,
पहुंचना है,
and with this limited time, we have to
तो
achieve our goal.
थोड़ा जागरूक रहना
So
पड़ेगा,
how much aware we should be
तो हमें कोई कुछ
for
बोलता
achieving
है,
that? If somebody tells us something,
हमारी
some
निंदा कर देता है, तो हम
words
उसका
which are
किस तरह
painful
से
for
इलाज
us,
करते हैं,
how much time we spent
सकारात्मक
just
तरीके
thinking
से,
about it, counteracting it,
एक वही
finding
नतीजा
and how to answer that person, then again it
निकलता
becomes
है,
a new story.
तो उन सब से
It
हमें
happens
बचना
many
है,
times.
और
So we should
तभी
stay away from all that.
मतपरा
And
होंगे।
that is only possible when you are
अगर
matpara.
हम
That is
ऐसे
what I mean. When we
क्रिटिसाइज
are
करके किसी की निंदा
ahampara,
कर दी,
then anybody
तो
criticizes us slightly also. And even if
हम अपने
that criticism is
परिणाम
correct
को नहीं देख
also,
पाते हैं, और
because we ourselves cannot see
ताकि
our mistakes. That person is seeing and he is giving us some feedback.
तो निंदा वास्तव में ठीक हो सकती है,
So that criticism may be actually correct also.
तो उसको नीचा दिखाना है, तो ये हमारा
So then when we hear some criticism, we just want to make that,
उद्देश्य तक
show that
जाने के लिए
person
सहायक नहीं बन सकता,
feel very down.
तो इसकी
Then
जागरूकता
this kind
हमें
of attitude is not helpful in our path of bhakti.
उन नियम का हम पालन करते रहते हैं, और बात खत्म होगी। तो उसी के लिए श्री रूप गोस्वामी जी
So for that, Sri Rupa Goswami speaks in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu
करते रहिए,
that
बहुत समय तक करते रहिए तो
you can keep following rules for a long time, but you will not get bhakti if you are doing it anasanga, without attachment.
साधन हो गई अनासंग ही अलभ्या सुचिरादपि, कि आप साधन कीजिए,
That you do sadhan
एक दो नहीं साधन,
and not one or two. Aughai means flood.
बाढ़ है।
If you just bring a flood of sadhanas, you are doing japa, mangal arti, puja, parikrama, and Yamuna Snan, and so many types of sadhan, but not with awareness, but like a machine, mechanical sadhana. If you keep doing it all the time.
कहते हैं कि बहुत समय तक भी आप,
So Sri Rupa Goswami says, for long time also you will not get bhakti like that.
ये मार्ग जो है ये जागरूक
Because this path is a path of awareness. It is not just doing some activities in the office.
पर चौकीदार है तो चौकीदार
Like in an office, there is some caretaker, some security guard. So what has it got to do? You just sit outside the gate. So here it is not like that.
प्रेम का मार्ग है,
This is a path of prema.
कॉन्शियसनेस अवेयरनेस,
It's about spiritual awareness, consciousness.
ये जड़ता का मार्ग थोड़ी है।
It's not a path of
हमारे जीवन
jada, matter or materialism.
रहते हैं तो वो भी अचेतन की तरह चलते रहते हैं।
So often we are walking or we are eating without any awareness. But in this path is a path of awareness. In spirituality, you cannot act unconsciously.
तो इसलिए
You should always remain aware.
मार्ग है जागरूक,
This is a path of awareness,
जो हम
being conscious of what we are doing.
भी हो,
So any sadhana that we are doing, even if you are sweeping the floor or watering the plants or cleaning the utensils, you should do it with awareness, not that your mind is here or there. Each and every activity should be done with proper awareness and the understanding that I am doing it for
क्या होता है कि फिर वो
pleasure of Bhagavan. If you have this consciousness and awareness, then there is nothing big or small seva.
लगा रहा हूँ और मंदिर में
Not that he is doing arati and I am sweeping the floor.
बेकार की सेवा दे दी, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। यहाँ तो आपकी
So otherwise we feel bad that we have been given a very low class seva. No, what is important here is what is the level of your awareness,
वहाँ भगवान की आरती भी उतार
your bhava. If that person is doing arati and if he is thinking when after arati I will go to Loi Bazaar and eat rabdi, but if you are sweeping the floor and you have the awareness that this is Bhagavan's temple and I have to clean it, it should look very neat and clean. So this is far better than doing arati in an unconscious way, on a mindless way. So don't think that this is some big or small, high or low level of seva. High or low is the level of your bhava. It's a path of bhava. That's why after sadhana bhakti we have bhava bhakti.
उस भाव का हमको अभ्यास करना।
So we have to practice that bhava. This is what matparata means here.
उसमें दृढ़ हो जाएंगे,
When you will become fixed up in that, then you will not have to practice it. But if you are not determined in that, you are not fixed up in that, then you have to keep practicing it continuously.
इसलिए इस श्लोक में मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ इतना कि ये बहुत
Why I am speaking so much about this? Because this is something very important and we generally tend to forget this word or we do not give proper importance to it. So this verse, its primary meaning is that whatever action we perform, whether it is that of karma yoga, jnana yoga, and what to speak of bhakti yoga. For bhakti yogi, this is a must. And bhakti yoga is what Bhagavan will speak of again and again. In 6th chapter where he explains Raja Yoga, there also he will explain. Bhagavan says that this is my opinion, that person is Yukta Tama, the best yogi, one who is engaged in my bhajan.
तो इससे भगवान बहुत प्रसन्न होते हैं और
So Bhagavan becomes extremely happy
आध्यात्मिक मार्ग
with
पर
such a person, and such a person progresses very fast in the path of bhakti because he gets the strength
इसमें जो
from Bhagavan
सबसे बड़ी
in the form of
समस्या
his
है, सबसे
mercy.
बड़ा जो रोड़ा
But the biggest obstacle
हमारे
in
अहंकार
this
का ही आता
is that of our
है। अहंकार
ahankara.
के कारण ही
Due
अपराध
to
होता
our
है।
ahankara, we
अपराध जो है वो
commit
अहंकार में
offenses, and
सबसे बड़ा अवरोध
offenses are the biggest obstacle in the
इसलिए
path of
अहंकार को
bhakti.
आपको भगवान के चरणों में समर्पित करना है।
So we have to offer that ahankara at the
ये
lotus
हमेशा
feet of
ध्यान में
Bhagavan.
रखिए, ये
So
जागृत
always
भाव में
remember,
जो कार्य कर
keep
रहे
this
हैं
awareness that
इसमें लगे
whatever
रहना है।
activity I am
अहम
performing,
पर होके कर रहे हैं कि मत पर होके
we
कर
have
रहे
to
हैं,
always keep checking you are doing it aham para
क्योंकि
or mat
ऐसा
para,
भेद हो जाता है कि वास्तव में वो क्रिया वास्तव में भगवान
with
की है
shelter of your own ahankar or under shelter of Bhagavan, because that will determine whether it is an ordinary
सेवा
activity
में
or
भाव
it
में
is
इतना ही अंतर है
bhakti. Seva is also an
जो
activity,
क्रिया आप
and
भगवान
any
के
other
प्रति
activity.
भक्ति भाव से सेवा भाव से करते हैं वो भक्ति बनती है, और जो उसके बगैर करते हैं वो क्रिया ही रह जाती है।
If you are doing any activity with the bhava of bhakti, then it is bhakti. Otherwise, it just remains an activity, any ordinary activity,
इसलिए फिर लोग
and you
लगातार
cannot progress much.
साल तक
So people keep engaging in sadhana for year after year,
देखो उनके
but when you
चेहरे
see
पे
their behavior, the way they
उसमें
talk,
कुछ उत्कृष्टता नजर नहीं आती।
then we do not see any advancement
कोई भी
in their
व्यक्ति
behavior or any
आध्यात्मिक मार्ग
excellence
पर अग्रसर
in their
होता है तो
behavior,
उसके
their
आचरण
speech.
में
Because ideally,
उसके
when a
बोलने
person is
में, उसके
progressing on the
व्यवहार में,
spiritual path,
उसके
then
चाल चलन में
his speech, his actions,
और उसके
his behavior will
उसके
reflect that
आचरण
excellence,
कैसे
that
करता है,
advancement. That
कैसे
is
चलता है,
exactly what
कैसे
Arjuna has
उसका
been
चाल
asking.
चलन, उसका
How does he
बोलना,
sit?
उसका
How does he
चलना,
talk? How does he speak? How does he
उसकी
eat?
बोल चाल सब अलग होगी।
So,
और उससे
for
पता
such a
लगेगा
person,
कि
for a bhakta, all
इसने
this will be
क्या
different.
कर्म किया है।
And from that, we will understand, we'll be able to identify that this
इसलिए
person
मैं
has got some achievement.
मैं दूसरों के लिए नहीं कह रहा,
And
मैं
we
अपने
should
लिए कह
not
रहा हूँ।
just
मैं वास्तव में
keep
देखता हूँ कि
analyzing
मेरे
others based
साथियों
on what Bhagavan is speaking. We have to analyze ourselves, that am I doing
से
anything,
लड्डू खाने पर
I
ही
am practicing properly, or I am just
वो
here
मानते
for
हैं कि कुछ
eating.
लोग आध्यात्मिक मार्ग में आते ही इसलिए हैं
So some people
कि
come
यहाँ
to the
कुछ
path of
सहूलियत मिलती
spirituality
है
for this only,
और
because
वहाँ
they
उनको
get some
सुख मिलता है और
facilities,
उनको कुछ कठिनाई
and
होती है।
they had difficulties earlier
आध्यात्मिक मार्ग
in
पर
the
चलने
material
वाले
life
व्यक्तियों का
outside.
उद्देश्य
So
अलग
they
होता
take
है,
help of spiritual
उद्देश्य
path.
अलग
Their
होता है।
goal itself is different. I am not talking
जो
about
आए
those
हैं वो
people.
भी समझें,
But if those people
आए
have
हैं
also entered this path,
तो उसका
once they
लाभ
have
उठाएं।
entered that path, why not take the best benefit in
और
it?
जो आए ही आध्यात्मिक
And
उद्देश्य
those
से हैं
people who
वो
have
तो
come with
हमेशा
spiritual goal, they must remain aware all the time,
भौतिक सहूलियत देखकर नहीं आए हैं,
because they have not come just
इसलिए
for
आए
getting
हैं।
material facilities. Many people come here just
जो
for
इस
getting
दृष्टि से
material
नहीं आए हैं
facilities
उनको
only.
समझना
But
चाहिए
those people who have not come for all that type of goal,
और इसको रखना
they
चाहिए
should
कि मैं इस
always
आध्यात्मिक मार्ग पर
keep
क्यों
this
आया हूँ,
point in their awareness. They should never forget why
ठीक हो
I
रहा हूँ या नहीं हो रहा।
came to the path of bhakti,
तो उसमें मूल
and they should
कारण
always
जो
analyze whether I am progressing or no. So the primary reason for not progressing is our own ahankara,
कष्ट
and
उठाते हैं,
because of that, the person,
तो
the
इसको छोड़ना
sadhaka
बहुत
keeps
कठिन होता
struggling.
है,
Now
लेकिन
it is very
कोई विकल्प
difficult to get rid of this
इसका
mentality,
और कोई विकल्प
but
नहीं
you
है।
have to get rid of that. There is no other
इसको
option.
छोड़ने का
You
तरीका
do
है
not have any alternative solution.
पानी
So no,
सरोवर से
Bhagavan
पानी
is simply
निकालने जैसा
prescribing how to get rid
साधना
of
में
this mentality,
संयम करके
controlling and regulating all our
यही
senses,
प्रक्रिया
and
है।
engaging
ऐसा नहीं
in
है कि
seva of Bhagavan,
हमारे
every
ज्ञान
sense.
बलवान है,
And it is not that the senses are
ज्ञान
more
हमारे
powerful than us.
इसलिए है
Because we have left them unrestrained, it
कि हम
appears that they
धीरे
are
धीरे
stronger than us.
नियंत्रण
But that is
करते
not the
आ रहे
truth.
हैं।
If we
समय कुछ
slowly
लेगा
practice regulating
लेकिन
them,
वास्तव में
then one day they will be fully under our
शायद हम
control.
अगले जन्म में
But
करना
if we
चाहें,
do not start that
लेकिन उसके
practice,
लिए
then we will not be able to achieve that. So in this life or another life, sometime we have to definitely start that.
यही उद्देश्य है,
So why to
यही
postpone that?
शिक्षा भगवान निर्देश
So this is what
इस श्लोक में
Bhagavan
दे
is
रहे हैं।
teaching in this
तो इन
particular
इंद्रियों को
verse.
नियंत्रण करने के लिए
So in order to regulate these senses,
नियंत्रण बहुत आवश्यक है,
it is very important to have regulation on
अत्यधिक
food,
महत्वपूर्ण है,
extremely important.
शरीर के पोषण के लिए भी
even for nourishment of body as well as progressing on the spiritual path.
उसमें चरक संहिता का
So in that regard, there is a verse from Charaka Samhita.
भुंज्यात न भुंज्यात अमितम हितम अनमितम हितम इष्टम च भुंजियात एष धर्म सनातन। बहुत महत्वपूर्ण श्लोक है, साधारण
This is a very important verse, but looks quite ordinary. First, he is telling that whatever you eat, it is not just for food, but
लेकिन भोजन के लिए
everything related to other senses also, but especially for food.
भुंजियात, पहले तो भोजन ऐसा करना जो हमारे
First of all, he says that we should eat that food which is beneficial for us, not just because it is having good taste,
मन का ठीक से पोषण
but because it will give proper nourishment to my body and mind. Then next he says, eat in limited quantity
आवश्यकता शरीर को
as per the body's need,
ज्यादा भी नहीं लेना, कम
neither more nor less.
भगवान भी कहते हैं इसको युक्त आहार विहार।
Bhagavan also speaks regarding this in Gita.
योगोस्ति न च एकांत मनस्नते, ना तो जो बहुत ज्यादा खाता है ना जो बहुत कम खाता है, दोनों के लिए कहते
The
हैं।
person who eats more than requirement and less than requirement, both cannot become yogi. So here Charaka is telling
अगर वो हितकारी भोजन भी है,
that even if the food is beneficial,
असीमित ना खाए,
don't eat it in unlimited quantity, too much, and don't eat in excess.
सामर्थ्य से ज्यादा खा लेते हैं,
Because if we eat in excess of our ability to digest, then that beneficial food will also turn into harmful food. It will lead to diseases.
और हितम इष्टम से भुंजियात, और आपको हितकारी भोजन कीजिए और
And
ऐसा भोजन कीजिए जो
eat what is beneficial and also that is pleasing to you.
मैं उसके लिए मना नहीं कर रहे हैं।
So he is not forbidding you from eating pleasing food.
आश्रम में गया था,
As I remember, before 35 years, I had been to one ashram, one yoga ashram. There the system was that they were cooking food, and the system was that all the items should be mixed up in one container and eat like that, so that you do not get the good taste.
दाल हो, चावल हो,
So whether it is rice,
साथ मिलाओ और
dal, sweet rice, whatever, mix up everything. So my question is, why do you take the trouble of cooking them separately? Why not cook them also together, mixed up?
हमारे यहाँ भक्ति मार्ग में उसकी ऐसी कोई आवश्यकता नहीं।
So there is no need of following all such practices in the path of bhakti. And even Charaka is speaking, although he is not speaking from the point of view of bhakti, because food should give you satisfaction also. Because if you do not derive satisfaction from food, you will derive satisfaction from other things.
हितम भी हो और इष्ट, इष्ट माने जो प्रिय है आपको।
So hitam means, so it should be beneficial and pleasing. And Charaka is telling this is Sanatana Dharma.
तो आज के श्लोक पर इतनी वार्ता करनी थी।
So this is what I wanted to discuss regarding this verse number 61. Bhagavan has given very nice instruction on regulation of senses, very important instructions. We'll stop here, and if you can have any questions, you can ask.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद बाबा जी। प्रश्न काफ़ी सारे हैं, तो मैं एकदम मिक्स ही करके आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा लग जाए। तो जैसे भागवत में श्लोक
So my question is,
और ये मैंने एक श्लोक ऐसे बोल दिया है, ज्ञान कर्म भक्ति, उसमें ध्यान भी, योग में ध्यान का भी आता है। और भक्ति जब करते हैं तो काफ़ी कुछ मिक्स भी हो जाता, भक्तों को मतलब थोड़ा अवेयरनेस बोलें या कुछ भी बोलें, सब कुछ मिक्स भी कर देते हैं ज्ञान कर्म
so often we find that bhaktas, they mix jnana, karma, etc. in their bhakti practices, but in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it is said jnana karma na adyanavritam.
ज्ञानी लोग हैं, ज्ञान मार्ग वाले, ज्ञान योग में, तो
So the jnanis on the jnana marga,
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति, तो उनका तो जैसे यहाँ पे ये वाला मैंने प्रश्न इसलिए उठाया है क्योंकि मत परा वाली बात आई है।
so I'm raising this question because in this verse Bhagavan spoke of Matpara.
जो ज्ञान योग वाला है वो ब्रह्म की उपासना कर रहा है।
So the Gyan Yogi is doing upasana of Brahma.
और क्योंकि ऐसा मैंने सुना कि जो ज्ञान तो है उसको, लेकिन ग्राउंड ना होने के मतलब जमीन नहीं होने, जमीन से क्या मतलब आएगा कि उसमें भक्ति का बीज ना होने के कारण।
So he has jnana but no beej of bhakti.
क्या बीज ना होने के कारण वो ब्रह्म के प्रति आकर्षित, ब्रह्म जो तत्व है उसके प्रति?
ऐसा है कि आप इन विषय को जो है थोड़ा मिक्स
So answer, you are mixing up various topics and you are not understanding things properly. In the word Jnana Yoga, when Jnana is used, it is not referring to the Bhagavatam verse of Vadanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam. Their Jnana has a technical meaning. Its Lakshana is, Jnana there means understanding this or knowing this, that the final ultimate Tattva is Brahma, impersonal, and we are non-different from that. The person who has such a vision, such an understanding, and performs sadhana for that, that sadhana is called Jnana Yoga. Understanding Shastra, learning Shastra, getting knowledge from Shastra, that is not Jnana Yoga. This is a big misunderstanding many people have. That's why they think that if they see somebody studying Shastra, they say he has become a Jnani. It is nothing like that. Because the first limb of bhakti is Shravan, hearing. So by hearing what Shastra, what do you get? You get knowledge of Shastra and you have to hear Shastra only. If you study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is it not Jnana? Is it not knowledge? Then how do you say Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam? So when he says Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam, there Jnana refers to the Advaita ideology. Thinking that the ultimate Tattva is Brahma and Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he is also Brahma Swarup. Not like how we understand that Brahma is Tanubha, is the glow of the body. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Our understanding is different, but they understand differently. So, having that understanding, what the Jnani has, and then doing sadhana, that is Jnana Marga. They are called Jnana Margis.
समझने का प्रयास कर रहा हूँ इसको, 2-4 वर्ष और धीरे गहराई से मनन, जैसे वो बात आई थी, मनन करने पे स्पष्ट होगा, क्लिक जैसे बोलते हैं ना। और दूसरा ये था कि
My next question is,
ज्ञान कर्म तो सब कुछ भक्ति से संबंधित, भक्ति से तो संबंध मतपरा में भी ये भी हो गया कि
आपका प्रश्न क्या, प्रश्न बोलिए।
हाँ, प्रश्न यही है कि जैसे मेरे को थोड़ा सा वो एक कुछ संशय बोलिए, कुछ भी बोलिए, वो ब्रह्म वाली बात थी, वो उसको आपने स्पष्ट किया। तो कर्म में कुछ और जैसे होता है ना कि एक डीटीज बोले, कुछ एक विषय होता है कि इसके लिए कर रहा है, तो कर्म में क्या कहते हैं, कुछ भगवान के अलावा भी कुछ और।
so in karma yoga,
में भी तो कर्म ही है।
so answer, in bhakti also there is karma.
भक्ति में भी ज्ञान है।
In bhakti also there is jnana.
मार्ग बोलते हैं, लेकिन वहाँ ज्ञान का अर्थ जो है वो अलग है।
So there is Gyan Marg also, but in bhakti when there is Gyan, that is a different meaning. The karma that we are doing in bhakta, that is, there is also a kriya, it is also a kriya yoga. In Bhagavatam for bhakti also kriya yoga word has been used. In the third canto, Bhagavan Kapil has used the word kriya yoga. So that is not karma yoga. There in karma yoga, karma has a technical meaning. In karma yoga, karma means you have that faith that the instructions of Veda, I will follow them,
उनका पालन करने से
and by following them,
मैं स्वर्ग प्राप्त कर
I will achieve Swarga, heaven, or Moksha,
तो कुछ लोग
liberation.
कर्म वो करते हैं कर्म दो प्रकार का होता है एक
So
सकाम
karma is of two types, Sakam and Nishkam.
तो उनकी आस्था उसमें रहती है
So
वो
their
अगर
faith is in those injunctions of Vedas for that reason. Even if they are worshipping Bhagavan, it is not because that they want to please Bhagavan or he by their objective is to achieve liberation if they are Nishkam Karma Yogi. And if they are Sakama, then here they will attain something or they want to achieve Swarga. That is Karma Yoga.
तो वो कर्म योग है
That is
हम जो कर्म कर रहे हैं वो कर्म
the karma what we speak of in bhakti, that is
तो भक्ति
actually that is
भी है
bhakti
और
only.
ज्ञान भी है
So in bhakti karma is also there, jnana is also there. That's why people get confused, they do not understand bhakti. But that karma is not karma yoga and that jnana is not jnana yoga. What else you have in bhakti? Jnana and karma only, no?
ज्ञान चाहिए
Because if you perform an action you need knowledge.
आप कर्मयोग करेंगे तो
Actually all three are three only, because in karma yoga don't you have any jnana,
कुछ भक्ति दिखानी पड़ेगी आपको आप
and you need some bhakti in karma yoga also if you are doing some like in Shraddha and all. In Jnana Yoga also you will have some karma, some kriya or no, some action will be there.
पड़ेगा ये कर्म
So you have to understand this properly.
ये इनकी क्या क्या
What are the specific meanings of karma, jnana and bhakti? What is karma yoga?
अर्थो धर्म जो वेद का विधान है
The vidhana, the instructions of Vedas which are beneficial for you, they are called karma or dharma.
इसलिए गीता में भगवान ने कहा है
That's why in Gita also Bhagavan says,
ज्ञात्वा कर्म विधानोक्तम कार्य कर्तुम इहारसि कि कर्म का विधान जानकर आप कर्म करो यहाँ पे
understand the instructions of Vedas and then perform actions accordingly here.
विधान नहीं जान के काम करो
If you do not understand them and act giving up the injunctions of the Vedas and act whimsically, you will not achieve anything,
सुख न शांति मोक्ष
neither happiness nor peace. Forget about liberation.
तो इसलिए इनको समझना चाहिए कर्म
So we should understand these terminologies properly.
नहीं तो हम ऐसे लगे रहते हैं
Otherwise, we just keep doing something or the other, and then we say this is karma mixed, gyan mixed, and all.
उद्देश्य और आपकी भावना ठीक होनी चाहिए उसी के
Your
अनुसार
goal should be clear, your understanding should be clear,
क्या है कि लोग ठीक से
and then act accordingly. Nowadays, the problem is people do not study nicely, they do not learn nicely,
फिर उनको पता
and they just keep engaging in what they call sadhana, and they remain confused whether it is karma or jnana or bhakti.
और किसी का कोई प्रश्न है
Any other question?
नवदीप जी का प्रश्न है
किसका
नवदीप जी का कि एक तरफ मैंने ये सुना है
Question. One side, I hear from devotees that hearing Bhagavad Gita and chanting holy names will cleanse our heart of all material desires, not simply
केवल हमारे स्वयं के
by our own efforts.
दूसरी तरफ मैंने ये भी सुना है
On the other hand, it is stated that unless we strive for cleaning our heart, it won't happen, even trying it lifetime after lifetime.
तो ये मुझे बहुत ही ज्यादा
Though this causes confusion, I am
में लाता है क्योंकि मैं बहुत ज्यादा
experiencing
भौतिक इच्छाओं के प्रति
so much struggle
आसक्त हूँ
overcoming the inclination of material desire
केवल नाम जप करने से
for sense gratification.
मेरे अंदर जो ये भौतिक इच्छाएं हैं वो स्वयं
Shouldn't chanting holy name automatically free me from those undesirable inclinations without having to struggle with our mind and senses? So answer, you only know what you want to say actually, because you are telling both things,
गीता श्रवण करना और
that automatically it will happen, or my own endeavor. So when you are hearing Gita, doing japa, is it not endeavor? Endeavor is something different from that, or what?
कह रहे हैं कि मेरे प्रयास से कुछ नहीं होगा
You are telling that with my endeavor nothing will happen.
जप क्यों कर रहे हो
Then why are you chanting? That is also an endeavor or no?
आपका भी प्रयास होगा और भगवान की कृपा भी होगी लेकिन आप प्रयास ही
So your endeavor will be there, Bhagwan's kripa will be there, or just by sitting Bhagwan's kripa is not possible.
मेरे प्रयास से कुछ नहीं होगा मेरा
What do you mean when you say by my endeavor nothing will happen? So basically you are trying to say that I should not have to do anything.
नाम जप से
So chanting will give everything, but that is possible when you chant according to the instructions of Shastra. Then only it will give the proper result. Any activity will give its proper result only when it is done properly. So you should learn both how to do it and what are things which should not be done. Just like taking medicine, there are prescriptions and prohibitions given by doctor. You have to follow both. Then only you can expect the result.
Okay. तो पिछले पार्ट में आपने परम
Next question.
दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते का व्याख्या दिया और
Previously you had given the explanation of param drishtva nivartate,
परम दर्शन दो प्रकार का है ज्ञान रूप से
and what I understand is the param darshan is by jnana and anubhav, knowledge and experience.
ब्रह्मचर्य का परम था का हाँ अधिक विस्तार से बताइए कृपया अधिक विस्तार से बताइए
So can you explain in detail?
कैसा है मैं पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं पूरी तस्वीर समझना चाहता हूँ
Can you explain more regarding the paramta of brahmacharya?
लेकिन साधारण लोग इस विषय पर कोई अनुभव नहीं है ना
Because people generally do not have any experience of this. So
can you say your question in English?
Yes.
And
Okay.
small.
So, could you please give me a complete picture on what is the happiness or what is the greatness of brahmacharya? Because I'm asking you because most people don't have an experience of it, and they have only experience of the other side of the family life and relationships. So I would like to understand what is the other side of the picture.
तो ब्रह्मचर्य जो है वो
So answer, brahmacharya word is made of two words, brahma and charya.
तो ब्रह्म बोलते हैं वेद को
Brahma means Ved
और चर्या का मतलब होता
and charya means action or behavior,
तो इस
lifestyle.
शब्द का अर्थ है
So this word means
आचरण करना
acting or behaving in a way
वेद में जो ज्ञान दिया हुआ है उसको
so that
अनुभव कर सके
the knowledge given in Vedas can be experienced by you,
विधान है उसके अनुसार
or
आचरण करना
you act following the injunctions of Vedas.
वो जो अंतिम तत्व वस्तु है उसको भी ब्रह्म बोलते हैं
The ultimate reality, that is also called Brahma. So acting in a way that by which you can achieve Brahma.
क्योंकि वो ब्रह्म का ज्ञान देते हैं
Veda is called Brahma because Ved gives knowledge of the Tattva Vastu of Brahma.
तो ब्रह्मचर्य का जो अर्थ सेलिबेसी करते हैं
What people generally say that Brahmacharya means celibacy, that is avoiding the
अंग है वास्तव
association of the other gender.
क्योंकि उसका
That is an element of this brahmacharya, because if you have to follow the Vedas or achieve Brahma, then you have to follow that celibacy. So the reason is same what Bhagavan is telling here,
प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता कि जिसकी इंद्रियां अपने वश
that
में
one whose senses are regulated,
प्रतिष्ठित होती है
only that person's wisdom is stable.
स्थिर रहती है तो किसी भी कार्य में आपको सफलता प्राप्त करनी
In
है तो
any action, if you have to achieve success, then your intelligence, your wisdom should be stable.
तो आप
If it is not stable,
ज्ञान प्राप्त नहीं कर सकेंगे
you will not be able to get proper knowledge of any object, any subject matter, even some ordinary material subject matter. You have to have your wisdom stable.
ठीक से समझ नहीं आएगी
If your mind is wavering here and there, you will not be able to understand it properly.
में केवल समझने की बात नहीं है उसका अनुभव करना है
In the spiritual path, it is not just about understanding, it is also about experience.
वश में करके उस विषय
And experience happens when we engage our senses according to the instruction.
विरोधी है यानी कि
So one who is
काम संभोग करना है,
one who is not following celibacy,
ये विपरीत है।
that his actions are against
हमारा मन
regulation of
जैसे
senses,
यहाँ भगवान ने कहा है इंद्रियाणी प्रमाथिनी
because our mind,
कि इंद्रियां बहुत बलवान हैं, ये हमारे मन को बलपूर्वक
our
हरण
senses are very strong, they
और
steal away our mind.
जो मन को हरण करने वाली चीज है वो
And what steals away our mind the most, that is kama, what in English we call it lust,
के संभोग करना।
that
तो
is
ये सबसे बड़ा
sex.
मन के लिए प्रमथन है, प्रमाथी।
So this is what churns or agitates the mind the most. It's the biggest agitation.
आपको अपनी बुद्धि स्थिर रखनी है,
So on one side, you have to keep your intelligence, your wisdom stable. So you have to keep it away from that which will agitate the mind.
मंथन जो मन का है
And the maximum agitation of mind and intelligence happens through association with the other gender, because that gives maximum agitation.
ये ब्रह्मचारी
That is why
थी सेलिबेसी इसलिए किया गया है कि
that is why the word celibacy, this meaning has been given to brahmacharya, that is of celibacy, because non-celibacy is the biggest obstacle in
ब्रह्म
this path.
भगवान में परमात्मा में नहीं लग सकता।
Because if one's mind is immersed in association with the other gender, then it is very difficult for that person to engage mind
ये जो शब्द कहा
in
गया
this
है,
path.
इसका आवेश जो है वो विषय में हो जाता है, तो उसका आवेश फिर ब्रह्म
A
में
person whose mind is immersed in sense objects,
एक ही है।
then mind cannot be immersed in Paratattva, because mind is one only.
गोपियाँ कहते हैं कि
The gopis tell Uddhavji that we do not have 10 or 20 minds. We have one mind only, and it has gone with Krishna. How can we use that mind for sense objects?
इसलिए वो मना
Because Uddhavji was trying to advise them,
में सबसे
take your mind here and there.
बांधता है, विषय का एक अर्थ भी वही है।
So Vishay also has one meaning, what binds our mind.
पकड़ लेता है,
It binds our mind tightly,
तो वो है काम भोग।
and that is activities of lust of men and women.
आपको पकड़ता है, तो सबसे ज्यादा
This is what holds your mind the most. So that is the biggest danger.
किसको कहते हैं 11वें अध्याय
Bhagavan will also speak of that in the 11th chapter,
विषय में लग गया वो विषय में डूबेगा, और जिसका मन
that
विषय में
one
लग गया मैं
a person whose interest is in sense objects, he will just get dragged into that, and one who is interested in me, his senses will be engaged in my seva. So that's why brahmacharya is very important.
बनाया या संन्यास
That's why the brahmachari ashram, sannyas ashram is there. For them it is completely forbidden, and those who are in household life also, they should also regulate it.
आध्यात्मिक में रुचि है तो
If they at all have interest in the path of spirituality, then they should regulate this.
मन से है,
So it's mainly its connection is with the mind,
मंथन करता है, इसलिए
that it agitates, it churns the mind.
मनोज बोलते हैं संस्कृत में।
That's why in Sanskrit,
में ही पैदा होता है।
this activity of kama, this is called manoj.
ये 90% मन में 10% से
Sex desire is 90% in the mind and 10% in the body.
से कुछ आप दवाई ले
In body also it happens, like sometimes if you consume some type of herbs or medicines, aphrodisiacs,
वो भी उद्वेग पैदा करती है।
so they also excite the body, because mind and body are connected. So when there is excitement in the body, there will be excitement in the mind also, or if in the mind, then it will excite the body also. But primarily kama is residing in the mind. That's why here Bhagavan is telling matpara.
पर वो युक्त आसित मत पर का मतलब अपने मन को मेरे में लगाना, मेरा मत
So he is telling, engage your mind in me,
परायणता मन से ही होगी ना पहले ही।
because the parayanata, the union, it will first happen in mind only, not just with the senses. That's why brahmacharya is needed. Otherwise, how will that person become matpara?
और जो उससे एक सुख की बात है, तो जैसे काम
And
भोग
as
में
far
सुख
as happiness from
उसी प्रकार
that, just like there is a happiness in activities of lust, there is also happiness in controlling or regulating lust also. That also has a different happiness.
करके आनंद उठाते हैं, ऐसे शक्ति
When you Just like you get happiness by engaging with the sense objects, there is also happiness in restraining from the sense objects. It's the energy of the body. According to Ayurveda, the 7 dhatus are there. By using them, there is ananda, and by concentrating them in the body, not wasting them, then also there is an ananda. So the previous one is very temporary, and the other one remains always with us. So when the ananda that you get by using those dhatus, you also get ananda by restraining from the senses, by concentrating them in the body.
ये विषय का है वो अंदर से आता है.
So one is that one is derived with the sense objects, and one is the internal. In Gita, Bhagavan will explain both. One is the with the vishayas by engaging with the senses.
सुखम अक्षय मश्नुते, वो अक्षय सुख है. ब्रह्म योग, ब्रह्म शब्द का प्रयोग किया वहां पर. वही ब्रह्म जो ब्रह्मचर्य में है.
The other one is with Brahma. Same word Brahma is used in Brahmacharya.
ये जो श्लोक बताए महाराज आप चरक संहिता से, ये पहला हितम भुंजात और
the verse that question, the verse you referred from Charak Samhita,
ये आध्यात्मिक विषय वस्तुओं में भी लागू करना पड़ता है, जैसे कि हम आध्यात्मिक विषय वस्तु श्रवण करते हैं, अध्ययन करते हैं.
is it applicable in spiritual subjects also, that we have to control how much we are hearing or whatever? So answer yes. But even if it is spiritual subject matter, your senses have limited strength only. Although in Ayurveda it is spoken from the point of view of health. So there it is said that the senses, using them too much, so then there can be problem. Sometimes we see devotees, very good sadhakas, if they do lot of japa, sometimes they do face problems in health, some leg pain or whatever. So here it is told from the point of view of health, but if you speak from the devotee point of view, spiritual activities, then he has to analyze. So what you are telling is important, because ultimately we have to do sadhana with the body only.
तो उसको ज्यादा खा लोगे भाई, ये तो डिवाइन है.
So if you are taking prasad, it is divine, too much of prasad, then will you not have problem?
ठीक है, प्रार्थना के श्लोक बोलते हैं. सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धम गीतामृतम महत्. एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्र गीतम एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव. एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा. कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः. यच्छ्रेयः स्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।